Hello, welcome to a weekly segment of the Cytonn Reports. I'm your host, Teresia Kingara. With me on the show today is Washu Mbugwa, research analyst at Cytonn. Washu, karibu.
Thank you.
We get to focus on the Nairobi Metropolitan report as was conducted by Cytonn research team. Maybe Washu, to start us off, you could give us an overview of what the report talks about or what it seeks to inform.
So basically, the report was looking at the state of infrastructure in the Nairobi Metropolitan area. And by infrastructure, we looked at roads, railways, airports, and water, electricity, and sewer systems. And within the Nairobi Metropolitan area, that is Nairobi County itself, and also areas around the Nairobi County, that is Kiambu County, Machakos County, Kajiado County, and Murang'a County.
What does the report talk about when you cover the infrastructure in these areas?
It's about the state of infrastructure and also the impact that it has had on the real estate sector in the area. So in terms of infrastructure and its state, for roads, those are the most commonly used means of transport with the most total output value nationwide and also in the Nairobi Metropolitan area, and they accounted for 62.9% of the total output value. In terms of completion of roads, for the last 6 years, Kiambu County had the most roads completed with a total length of 184 kilometers, and followed by Murang'a County and then Nairobi County. But then again, Nairobi County has always had roads. It's been the capital city, so for Nairobi County mostly it's upgrading, as most of Nairobi County is covered by tarmac roads. In terms of railway transport, rail transport is barely used in Kenya and also in the Nairobi area, and mainly it's because the connectivity is not as much as compared to roads. So in the Nairobi Metropolitan area, Nairobi County accounts for most of the railway connectivity, with 15 of the total 20 railway stations available in the metropolitan area being within Nairobi County, while the rest 5 railway stations are in Kiambu County. So that means Murang'a County and others like Kajiado County are not covered by railway connectivity, so you don't find railways being used in those counties. In terms of air transport, Nairobi Metropolitan area is mainly served by 2 airports. We have one international, that's the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and one domestic, which is Wilson Airport. But we also have other smaller airports, that is airstrips and small-scale airports that serve like one entity, say like a national park or the Air Force.
What about water and sanitation?
So in terms of water, water has an average of 55% coverage in the Nairobi Metropolitan area, and Nairobi County carries the largest share with 81% coverage, followed by Kiambu County with 75%. However, the other 3 counties have less than 50% water coverage, which means they need more water projects in those areas. In terms of sewer coverage, despite it being really important, it's relatively low compared to these other subsectors, with an average coverage of 17%, and Nairobi County leads with an sewer coverage of 50%, while the rest of the 4 counties have less than 20% coverage. In terms of electricity, Nairobi region actually consumes most of Kenya's power supply, accounting for 55% of the total energy produced in Kenya. And we've seen the government especially focusing on providing electricity to most of the population, because the aim is to avail electricity and clean energy to every household in Kenya. So we've seen access to electricity being one of the main focus, and it's been increasing over the years. And this is because the electricity is important to the economy in the manufacturing industry.
Maybe you could tell us what are some of the factors that are driving the development in the infrastructure?
So recently we've seen the government increase its investment in infrastructure, and that's because it's important to the economy in general. So the key factors that are driving investment and demand for infrastructure is, first of all, population growth. So as the population growth, there's increased demand for things like water, electricity, and also sewer systems, and so the government has to provide this infrastructure. And also budget allocation, so there's more funds being directed towards infrastructure development. For instance, the national budget allocation for infrastructure has grown over the years at a 7-year CAGR of 7.7%, and for Nairobi, for the last 6 years, the budget allocation has been growing at a CAGR of 73.1%. And so you can see it's notable that the government is focusing on a lot on developing infrastructure in Kenya and also in the Nairobi Metropolitan area. Another thing is also the government is providing incentives, especially to attract private investment funds. And this is because, first of all, infrastructure requires a huge capital outlay. And so the government is trying to find ways of pulling in private investments. For instance, there is a 25% tax cut for private investors. So in addition, the government has offered incentives, especially those that are meant to attract private investment funds. And this is because infrastructure sector requires a huge capital outlay, and so the government needs that extra financing. It has offered incentives such as 25% cuts for private investors, and also there is this arrangement where commercial property developers who invest in subsectors such as roads and power and water, they get to recoup their investments within 4 years.
And you've touched on real estate. What impact is these infrastructural developments having on the real estate sector in Kenya?
Infrastructure has impacted real estate in a couple of ways. First of all, we've seen increased real estate developments along areas where infrastructure developments have been going on. For instance, along Thika Road, since the construction of the superhighway, we've witnessed the mall space in that node increasing. For instance, mall space along Thika Road was 0.3 million in 2013, and currently it's at around 1.3 million square feet. We've also seen similar effects in areas like along Northern Bypass, where we saw development of Two Rivers. Also, another impact on real estate is increase in property prices. So you see with infrastructure developments, it drives up property prices due to rise in demand. You see, you tend to find that clients opt for properties along areas which have good infrastructure, so that drives up property prices and thus property values. And another impact is that on the supply side, infrastructure supply tends to benefit property developers. In Kenya, we find that infrastructure tends to account for 26% or thereabout of total development costs, and that's huge for property developers. So when the government provides infrastructure, it helps to reduce the construction costs on behalf of the developers. So with infrastructure development, that gives impetus for property developers to provide affordable housing and affordable properties because the infrastructure cost has already been catered for.
And as we conclude, you could tell us what are some of the recommended areas for real estate investments based on the infrastructure report?
So to come up with recommended areas for investment, we looked at the supply of each of the subsectors in the Nairobi Metropolitan area. So the area that had the most supply is the most attractive for developers and for real estate investors. So we looked at road supply, airports, proximity to airports, railway coverage, sewer coverage, water and electricity as well. So by that, Nairobi County was the leading area. So it's number 1 among the 5 counties. And so it's the most recommended area for investment because it has relatively good road coverage. It also carries the 2 airports that serve the Nairobi Metropolitan area. It also has a relatively good coverage of water and electricity and sewer systems compared to other counties. And in terms of nodes within Nairobi County, the most recommended areas for investment are areas like along Ngong Road, where we've seen the areas have good road connectivity, and also the road itself is being repaired currently. So Nairobi County is the leading area in terms of infrastructure supply. And within Nairobi County, we recommend areas like along Ngong Road, where they have good road connectivity and also relatively good coverage of other subsectors such as water and sewerage, and also the fact that they are in close proximity to the JKIA. And in Kiambu County, which was the second area the recommended county of investment. We have areas like Thika, Ruiru and Kikuyu, and this is because they carry majority of infrastructural projects that are happening within Kiambu County. And the third area, the third recommended area was Machakos County, in areas like Athi River and Syokimau, also because they are in close proximity to the JKIA, and also there is ongoing infrastructural developments such as roads and railways in those areas.
Okay, asante. Until next time, kwaheri.